Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And Joe at RT.ie, and you're going to be hearing a lot, especially this weekend, about this new movie called Legend. Tom Hardy, the well-known British actor, he plays the part of two men in it, Ronnie and Reggie Kray, the Kray twins, known to a certain generation here in Ireland, and notorious East End criminals in London. And there's a bizarre Irish connection, and it is in the form of James Coughlan, who is a barber in Ennistimon, County Clare. James, good afternoon. The shop is actually the barber's in Kilrush. James, good afternoon. What is your connection?
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I actually got to know Reggie personally well back in the early 90s through his brother Charlie.
And how did you get to know them?
Well, I used to spend time in a local boxing club in Bethnal Green at the time called York Hall. And Charlie used to look after a couple of boxers there, and they had a gym there, and I used to spend some evenings there more so as a hobby. And sometimes I'd end up sparring with a few people that'd be boxing there, and that's how I spent my time. Charlie used to come in and out of the club regularly, and another couple of associates that would be of the Krays of that time, the likes of Lenny McLean and Tony Lamborino, used to frequent the club as well.
And what did you know of the Kray twins at that stage?
Well, I would have been familiar with the Krays of that time, obviously not the notorious side of them. I would have got to know Charlie is a very mannerly gentleman. He was a very nice guy to know, and the likes of Lenny and Tony Lamborino, very, very nice people to know. I got to know them over a period of 3-4 years of that at that time.
And then you had a bizarre request. Was it for you were asked by one of them in prison to film the other's funeral? Who asked that? Yeah, well,
Lenny used to have a bar. Lenny McLean used to have a bar. It was called Governor's. Lenny would have been a boxer in his time. He was actually known as the Governor. And Reggie used to actually phone the bar on a regular basis from Maidstone Prison. And I worked a couple of evenings, occasionally inside the bar at that time. And I often answered the phone to Reggie over the space of 3 or 4 years. So Reggie requested at one time that I actually go down and visit him. And I went down to Maidstone Prison. I visited Reggie, and we just got to know each other, chatted away. He chatted more about Ireland and where I was from and getting to know me. And after visiting him another few times, Ronnie had died in the meantime. And I was asked if I would film the funeral of Ronnie Kray, i.e. inside in the funeral home, in around the graveyard. The media, the press couldn't get in around the graveyard at that time. They're all banned from the actual graveyard. So I filmed Reggie and Charlie and Freddie Foreman and people like that throwing roses in on top of Ronnie. I sat with Ronnie Kray for about 20 minutes inside the funeral home alone. It was the first time I ever got to see Ronnie Kray. That was back in 95. Ronnie died in St. Patrick's Day in 1995. And afterwards, inside Lenny's bar, the Governor's bar, was everybody had to do there afterwards, as you do after a funeral. It was a get-together. But the only person that couldn't go there was Reggie. He had to be brought directly back to Maidstone Prison.
Yeah. And by the way, did they like their notoriety?
Sorry?
Did they revel in their notoriety? Because, and this movie will only add to it, I know they passed on, but did they revel in the notoriety as the Kray twins?
Well, going to the first movie, Reggie hated the first movie. He hated what was portrayed by the Kemp brothers in the first movie. And what he hated most about the first movie was that his mother swore in it. And he actually told me that personally himself. He didn't like that his mother swore in the movie because she never swore a day in her life, according to Reggie. And he hated the way the Kemp brothers portrayed them, so he never liked the movie. And I know at that time that Charlie was paid a fee by researchers of doing the movie at that time. And Reggie and Charlie fell out just briefly, but they did get their friendship back going again after that. But there was a bit of Reggie just didn't like the way the movie was done, which I believe this movie that Tom Hardy portrays Ronnie and Reggie the way he'd certainly like to be portrayed, you know. He actually said to me that the Kemp brothers portrayed them as clowns, you know.
By the way, will you go and see this movie?
I will, yeah. I'm going tonight, actually, to see the movie.
Okay. And what did you think of the Kemp brothers movie?
To me, it was a movie that kind of glorified him, I suppose, in lots of ways. But I wouldn't have known enough at that time that I would have seen the movie. I wouldn't have known enough about the story. It was only in later years after that I really got to know a lot more about Reggie and what they would have been involved in and what they'd done time for. I still believe to this day that Reggie spent too long in prison. Those people, you know, for the people that he did actually kill. I mean, he'd spent more than 30 years in prison for killing a member of his own gang that had actually killed people. So I think but I wasn't there in the notorious side. I'm sure there's people as well that would probably say that they got everything they deserved, but I didn't know them that way.
Okay, and we've been talking about prison life over the last few days. That's James Coughlan, and James Coughlan is a barber in County Clare. Thanks, James.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please join our Facebook group. It's called Krays Crime Lords of London. We're a friendly, moderated group with over 1,000 Kray and other celebrated gangster videos available for view. There's also thousands of images in the photos sections. The link for the group is in the YouTube description section. I hope we see you there soon.